Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Entertainment Roadmap. Today, we are joined by Morgan, Riley, LJ, and Kayla, who were all extras in the new Mean Girls movie. We're so excited to hear their stories. Noah, should we dive right in?
Let's do it.
So, I guess the first question is you were an extra, which is so exciting, and you got to witness everything. How did you get involved with this process?
I feel like I have the strangest story when it comes to Mean Girls because it was just one random January day of 2023. I was scrolling on Instagram. I was like just bored out of my brain. I like was playing a game on my computer and I was bored of the game, so I was on my phone. But I was scrolling through and this fan account for Mean Girls was like, they're looking for extras in New Jersey. Send all your personal information in this email. And of course, I did look into it. I'm not that gullible. But I went on BroadwayWorld.com and they were like, yeah, like we need people. So I was like, screw it. Why not? Sent my whatever information they asked for and they got back to me. I think it was Valentine's Day of last year. They were like, you were hired. And I was like, this is insane.
So at the time I was between jobs, and I had saw like NJ.com, which is like our local kind of news source, through like articles, and they had posted like this gig for background work for this unnamed musical movie that's filming like a few hours away from me. Well, it didn't give exact location, but it was like northern New Jersey. So I saw it and I was like, oh, that's cool, whatever. And then a little bit later, my friend sent it to me and he was like, wouldn't this be cool? So I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll just apply. And I heard back a month later, not expecting anything.
It was very fun. So I saw the casting call on a website called Casting Networks. At the time, like a lot of people don't know this, a lot of shows and movies use code names. So at the time, the code name was High School Musical. So like I remember the first day, everybody thought like it was High School Musical, like either the show or like the move they're making. Oh, High School Musical 4 is finally coming out. I think my friend said it because she knew Renee Rapp was gonna be in there. She saw Renee like walking the hallway or whatever, and I think that's when like I figured out. I'm like, oh, it's Mean Girls, and then the PAs told us because they tell you like what the scene is gonna be and everything. So that's when they told us that we were on Mean Girls.
Yeah, basically, I had been like looking through different like casting calls for a while of just things that are filming in New York and New Jersey in the area that I'm in. Because I've like always wanted to act, and so I was kind of like looking through different things. And then one day I saw like a casting call pop up on Instagram that was like for a high school movie musical. And it was said that it was shooting in like March, and I was like, we'd like seen a little bit online of like maybe Mean Girls is shooting like in New Jersey in March. I was like, that's interesting that like could be a thing. Like that'd be just cool. So I was like, why don't I submit? Like, I don't know, it like couldn't hurt. So I like sent them all of the like requirements that they asked for. And then I kind of just like was waiting for a little bit. And then I like got a reply that was asking for like my availability and sizes and things like that. And then that's when I kind of figured out that like, oh, I think I got it. And then I did. So that was like the whole process.
Yeah. Are you able to talk about like the process, like once you got picked, when you get there, what's the process of like getting onto set with like the wardrobe and the hair and the makeup and things like that?
Yeah. So we would get our call times and kind of like our booking the day before. It
Hmm.
was usually supposed to be the day before, but it would always get sent late. Whenever the last scene of the day would wrap, we would get the booking information. And it would include, what we had to wear, our makeup, what time we had to be in holding and everything like that. So I would show up every day and it was a little bit different depending on where we were. So the first 2 days of filming were taking place in a completely different town, school, and that was for the talent show. So that was just 2 days of filming. Um, and there were so many more extras. There was a different, I feel like the hair and makeup team were a little bit different that day. There was more of like a bigger setup, and the rest of the days were filmed in the same school. And We would walk in, they would call certain groups, we'd go up to get our hair and makeup done, and then we'd come back and sit and wait for everyone else. As for wardrobe, we usually would provide our own things. They told us kind of like set rules of what we had to follow and bring it in. And if we didn't have anything that would go along with what they kind of wanted, they would pick out clothes from their wardrobe and give it to us to wear.
Like they have was it a tent? I believe I'm 90% believe that they had us in a big tent. And yes, they did. Okay, so they had us in a tent. So like we would like walk through the school, check in, like they had a security guard for the school. So like he knew our faces. So he would just like we don't have to sign in or anything. We just walk in, we know where to go to the tent. We always check in. So we check in with the PAs that's there. And then it's about, I want to say, 3 to 5 hour wait before we even get to the first scene. So they pretty much just, we get wardrobe, get dressed, take our pictures. They tell us what the scene is. They give us an estimate of how long we're going to be there. If we're going to be there 15 hours, 16 hours, or if it's going to be like a quick day. And everybody wanted to have a quick day. But yeah, so they pretty much tell us, and then we just pretty much talk until they say, "Okay, guys." They'll pick us, and they'll be like, "Okay, guys, this group is going to set, that group is going to set, and etc."
You got to talk with a lot of the cast members. What was that like working aside some of these top names in talent right now?
It was very interesting, very fun. I love meeting new people. I love talking to people. Everybody was like so nice. Like Renee was funny. Avantika was really cool. As I said, Brian, that's the homeboy. We go back to Pretty Little Liars, Original Sin. So I was a featured extra on that also. So we were jocks together. So that was fun. So like he pretty much like introduced me to like everyone. Damien, Jaquel is really cool. Um, I got to jump on his back a couple of times when Regina gets hit by the bus. So that was fun. Um, but yeah, like everybody was cool. Also, Renee Rapp's brother was a extra on the movie as well. So like Renee would always, because I was sitting at the same table, so Renee would always go talk to him and then talk to us. So everybody was sweet.
Um, let's see. The only ones that I didn't really have any interaction with was BB Wood and Avantika, but everyone else that I met with, they were absolutely amazing. They were so nice. Um, and like they basically came up to us and would just start talking to us.
Jaquel too, especially like he was kind of like the person that would like hang out with all the extras like all the time, especially that first day. Like he was like, I'm so nervous, like it's my first movie and everything. He was just very, very cute. And clearly like very happy to be there. And so it was really cool like getting to meet and work with him too.
I keep hearing stories from other extras where this principal cast loved to talk to us. Like I always hear like, oh, and like on one of like the emails, they were like, don't talk to them, don't even try, don't even approach them. And they didn't care. They were like just talking to us. Like I remember Ali E pointed me out one day and she was like, I am in love with your hair. So like every single person was just like so sweet.
I think the thing that everyone should know about like the main cast, especially like I'm gonna call him out, my baby Jaquel. Love him so much. Like he's the sweetest person on earth. And I kind of like I'm not gonna say like I knew him because like I don't know him like personally. I don't got his number, but like I kind of like knew him before because I had like been on his like little lives that he would do that are like so cute before like shooting. And because I was like on his lives like kind of during the process where I was like submitting and waiting, I was like, oh, I might be in Mean Girls, and he was like, oh my god, if you are, like, come say hi to me. So like when we were shooting I'd Rather Be Me that first day, there was like so much going on and I just like didn't want to bug him, like whatever, so I was kind of like just not going up to him like during filming because once again we were shooting for 8 hours straight, so it was like a lot of people were like either talking to him or like he was doing a lot, I just didn't want to bug him. But then when we had like a little break finally, I like went up to him and I was like, "Hi, I'm the person who's been on like your lives for a while that like told you." He was like, "Oh my God." And he like gave me a hug immediately and was just like the sweetest person ever. And then every single time he saw me on set after that, he like gave me a hug and was like just so sweet, so nice. So he's like definitely very much a person that like if you work with him or around him, you just like feel how like sweet and caring and kind he is. And Ali, I would say it's the same, but like in a different way. Also because I'm a little intimidated, just because I'm in love with her. Because the first day when we were like shooting I'd Rather Be Me, like I said, she kind of like, came up to all the extras and was like, "Hi, I'm Ali," like da da da, like it was just so cute. But then when she was like shooting the scene, she was like, "All right, y'all, I have to run in this. So if I step on you, that's your fault." And I was like, "Oh, okay, queen." So real. So really actually isn't my fault. Everything is my like I agree. I get you completely. Like, tell me what you need. I'll give it. Like, you know what I mean? She's just like so cool and so badass, but like also so sweet. Um, and in between one of the takes for like Apex Predator, we were just like bored because I don't know what the hell was going on, but we were just like not rolling for a minute. She started like randomly doing Tai Chi and like was like next to me. And I was like, what's going on? And I started doing it with her, and I was like, wait, this is so hard. And she was like, I know, right? So we were just like talking about like random things like Tai Chi and like ballet. And she's just like very like down to earth and sweet and easy to talk to, but also like badass and so cool. So all of the extras definitely like I know we very much like love those people, especially. And then also like my bitch, my girl, Renee, obviously we all love her. We all know her. Was very, very sweet. And also like hilarious. Like when you worked with her, she was just very much like very down to like come and like chill and like talk to her people, like talk to her little girls, you know what I mean, on set. Her and Gowrie, so cute, like on set throughout filming. Like it's very obvious, I feel like in press that like they're each other's girl, you know what I mean? But on set it was very, very cute because they would have so many like little chats or little moments, and I'm like, oh, okay.
The first day of school homeroom scene, Jaquel had his prop phone and he wanted to fill it up. Like he was saying to everyone that he wanted to fill up before we were done shooting. So he took selfies with the majority of us in the room. And that was pretty cool. And then Angori, I was sitting next to my friend who had a Taylor Swift. We both are big fans of Taylor Swift. And we both kind of like not snuck in, but we had, sweatshirts and stuff like that were Taylor Swift inspired. And of course, we're fangirls and we wanted it to be, high school like. So we wore them and they got approved by wardrobe, surprisingly. And Angori came up to us and started talking to us about Taylor Swift. So for like 5-10 minutes, we fangirled about Taylor Swift and Harry Styles, which was like so cool to, be able to talk to her about like normal things.
Did you get to meet Tina Fey or Tim Meadows at all?
Okay, so I did meet Tim. He's like very funny. Like when he was doing the announcing scene during the talent show, he was making jokes at us and everything. So like he's really cool. And then I met Tina once. She was at the when we did the talent show scene. And then like sometimes because she was the producer, she would like walk around. So me and my friends were like working out like while we were in holding. And she walked past and said hi because she was like, "Who's in the gym?" And we was like, "It's just us." Da, da, da. So we talked to her then. And then there was another chance where I had the chance to talk to her, but she was like, it was clear that she was busy. So we were just like, nah. But yeah, I got a chance to talk to her once. She was really nice.
So when we were filming Apex Predator, Jaquel came in through a classroom, but that's where they kept all the like monitors and stuff. And I didn't know that. I thought the classroom was empty. So he walked away for a minute and I'm facing the other direction and I turn around to look for Jaquel and Tina Fey was right there. Like this close to me. I near had a heart attack and I didn't want to like bother her or anything. So I like jumped and I just turned away. I was like, I can't bother her.
That's such,
So
I feel
funny.
like that's such an iconic cast member to run into. Like that's
Totally.
Okay, here was, oh my God, that was so crazy too. Was like obviously I knew they were both involved, but like for some reason, like somehow it like did not click in my head. at all. Like I remember like the first day I like saw Tina, it was so like funny and awkward because I don't remember what scene we were shooting. It was like something in a hallway somewhere. But she just it was like the like one of the first days of like shooting. She just like walked like through the hallway and like walked past me and I was like like it was like a jump scare. I was like, "Oh, like I obviously know it makes sense that you're here and that you would be, but like why am I looking at you right now?" You know what I mean? So I didn't get to like talk with her or like have any sort of like in-depth convo with either of them, but I made eye contact with her a lot and that was enough for me. Like if I talked to her, I don't know what I would say. I would have just been like, "Hi, thanks Queen. Love your work so much." Like I don't know what I would have said.
What was the first scene that you got to film?
So the beginning of Apex Predator, that little scene beforehand and the transition into the beginning of the song, that was my first day on set. And I remember that day so vividly because I got to set an hour before call time because I was so nervous and so excited. And I remember one of the PAs or assistant directors, I cannot remember who it was, she came up to me and she was like, "Are you comfortable like pretending to be an animal?" And I was like, "This is my first job ever. Why not? You know, like let's just throw everything." So I was like, "Yes, of course." So she took like me and half the extras into the hallway. You could see all of us in the hallway at 10 a.m. scratching the lockers and jumping around. And, like, but the funny thing is, like, they had us be quiet because I don't know why, because they were putting the song over it, but they were like, just stay quiet. And I was like, okay. So it's just like everyone like breathing while like scratching the lockers and rolling on the floor. And yeah, that was my first scene, my first day.
The first day was actually like so chaotic because we were told that it was going to be like sort of like a cafeteria scenes type of thing. And like at the time, like at least for being an extra in this movie, like you weren't really told like specifically what you were going to be filming until like you were there on set. Like they were sort of explaining the scene to you, like the directors and everything. And so the first day I was like going into it like just having the idea of like cafeteria scene in mind because like that's what the email said and like besides the call time and everything. So I went in expecting to like be in a cafeteria and then they were like, "So we're shooting I'd Rather Be Me." All of this stuff, like Aoi is here. Aoi like walks in and I'm just like, "What is going on right now?" And so then we sort of started like going through the scene. Aoi like starts getting notes, and it's really cute because she like came up to all like the extras in the area that we were in, and she was like, "Hi, I'm Aoi," like just very very sweet, cute energy. And then she started like getting notes for the scene, and then ran through it, and we were told like what we're supposed to be doing in the scene, and like going over it a bunch of times. Um, but overall, it was like really really chaotic because it took us like 8 hours just for that scene specifically because they were doing it like all in one take. So it was kind of like her running like through the hallway, I guess, like also through the cafeteria, which is why it might have been labeled that, even though that's not what it was. At least for the section that I was in. And so it was just sort of like everyone like running around. Like the thing with the hallway scene was we're like kind of bopping around from place to place in the hallway or from like cafeteria to hallway like throughout the scene. So even when she's singing in other places, it's like we're moving to our next spot for the scene. So it was that like on repeat for 8 hours and just like nonstop. Like we didn't eat for so long. And like Jaquel's also in the scene like too. And so he was also just kind of like we were all struggling together type of thing, but in a fun way. Like we were all like tired and hungry, but it was just like really long and really fun the first day.
It's a lot of work hearing you guys go to like makeup and hair. What was that like? Was that like a really fun experience?
Yeah. I they didn't so they told us to bring our own makeup and everything like that to set, and we would do our own makeup and hair, and they would touch it up. It was a little bit different for the spring fling, because at least a lot of us, they kind of just redid our whole hair and whole makeup, which was different from the majority of days on set where they would just touch it up and, put a little bit of hair products in your hair. For spring fling, the amazing hairdresser that I had, or hair, person, she redid my whole hair. It was like pinched straight at the time. She curled it, did an updo, put a bow in it, and I was ready to go dance.
So like mine was easy because like you see I don't have much hair. So like hair, I was always like pretty much good. The only thing was like if I decided to get a haircut, because we don't shoot everything the same day, so sometimes we'll shoot one part of the scene and then we might not do it till like 3 days later. So your hair has to be exactly the same. So if I got a haircut, I would say that was the only challenging part because I had to like go back to the barber to get the exact same cut when I just saw him 2 days ago. But and then shaving also because we were in high school. So the guys had to shave every day, and if they didn't, they would yell at you and then do it for you. But and sometimes I would forget. I had a huge like on POL. That was my biggest problem. But yeah, so they shave you pretty much. But yeah, everybody's cool and nice. And as I said, like if you work enough, you know all these people from different sets. So I knew like the wardrobe people, I knew them. One of the wardrobe ladies was from POL. So like she always like knew what I liked to wear already. So like wardrobe was easy because she already knew the outfits that I would like.
So for that kind of basically what happened with background was they would send us like notes for every like shoot day that we were on of like, you know, what season we're in during whatever scene we're filming, and then what like colors they think work for that season. So they'd be like, oh my God, this is a springtime scene. We want like blues, greens, like cutesy colors. And the thing that they kind of were like saying throughout the film was like, obviously don't do like pink. Like they were like, that's just not something that like we
Mhm.
want because that's like a plastic thing. Which wasn't an issue for me because I never fucking wear pink, but they were
Mhm.
just like, no pinks, please. So they would kind of like send us like what season it was, what colors they thought like fit that, or what vibe they're kind of going for. And then we would kind of bring options to them, like to wardrobe, but then they also had like huge racks and like things of like clothes, shoes, whatever, in case like they didn't like what you had or they just thought they had something that fit better. And then obviously they had like all of our sizes and everything in case we needed it. So it was kind of like every day you like go to like the background, like holding location, you like check in and everything, and then they're like, okay, wardrobe time. You go up, you get in like the huge line, you like show them your options for the day, and they're like, okay, we think this piece of yours would pair with this like very well. Or they're like, ooh, we love this piece of yours, but we want it with like something we have. Let us like grab it for you. You can try it on. We can like fix you if we need it, whatever, that type of thing. And so like most of my friends and I wore things that like were from our own wardrobe. In in one case, oh my God, there was this scene that was like a spring scene that's like towards kind of like the end of the film. I can't remember if it's like a scene that's after Katie becomes plastic or if it's before, but it's like where they're like walking outside and I'm like in the corner. You can see me for like a couple like split seconds if you're looking.
Mhm.
But I'm wearing this like long blue dress type of thing that I did not like, was not my choice personally,
Mhm.
wouldn't wear it in real life. But it was so funny because that day I took like a really, really cute like dress and like long sleeve shirt that I was gonna wear under it. And wardrobe like approved it. And they were like, oh yeah, like this is good, like we love this, whatever. And then I don't know what happened, but they like changed their mind and they were like, wait, we actually want you to wear this. And all of my friends like loved the outfit that I was wearing before. And then I went and like changed the dress, and all my friends were like, oh. And I was like, yeah, I agree, I don't like this dress, but I'm in it. But it's okay because you can't really see me in it in the movie. But one of my friends made a joke and he was like, it's kind of giving nurse. And I was like, and the worst part was that I could see it, but you can't really see it in the movie. So like don't look for me towards the end because you might catch it. And that is not cute for me. Um, but yeah, that's basically how wardrobe was. And then for makeup, we had kind of like a similar thing where like we brought our own makeup products, but obviously like the makeup team had like a bunch of shit and like the mirrors and chairs and everything. And so they were like, okay, you can like do your own, and like if you, unless you like don't know how to do your makeup and you want us to do it, like let us know, we'll totally do it for you. And I'm like okay with like basic like TV film makeup, but the one thing I've never been able to do is my eyebrows. And so it like kind of became a thing of like I would always go over to like my makeup lady and be like, hey girl, and like she would do them for me because I was just horrible at doing them every time. So that's basically how like that went.
Are you able to talk about like some of the directions that you were given on set, like while the scenes were being filmed, like anything that you had to do? Because I know like for Apex Predator, like some people had to act like an animal. So I don't know if you could talk about anything like that.
Originally, no, but they had a reshoot day. And I was in the background of right when Regina shows up the first time with all the lights flickering and everything. And I remember that day so vividly because the way that they had us crossing, like they would tell us go, go, go. And right before the lights started, I would get sent out. So I had to book it to the other side of the hallway as the lights are flickering. And I'm by myself. So I'm just like, oh, what? It's just, it was just crazy.
With the classroom scenes, there was only about 15 of us in the room. So it was very, intimate, and they wanted to make sure that we were, on our game because we were going to be on camera. And with that, the directors nicely like came up to us and they gave us, directions, which was really cool because, for them to take time out to like talk to the extras and give us specific directions was really cool. And then I think it was during the spring fling announcements during homeroom. I wore my shirt that I wore in that classroom. And they wanted me to give like horrific looks to like Damien and Janice and Katie because I guess I was like annoyed with the whole spring fling, deal that was going on. So they told me to give looks to them, and they gave me Greek yogurt to eat, but they wanted me to touch it to my lip. And the prop guy came over and he was like, "Oh, you could just like take spoonfuls out and like touch it to your lip and eat it." But in my head, I'm like, how am I supposed to do this and make it look real with the camera being right there? So I ended up kind of just like stirring it and playing with it and then going on my phone.
So like it was, as I said, like the scene that the party scene. I got to talk to the directors then. So like I knew what the scene was going to. Like the scene went on to Kevin G, then it goes on to me, then it goes on to Aaron Samuels walking by. So like he would just like I said, like stay in here, you guys could like come up with something, and he had the idea for the guy, my friend on the top, to pour like the 40 bottles in my mouth. Um, so like we did that, and then like the PA was discussing like should I like actually drink out of the bottle or not. And that's when the cameraman was like, "Oh, just have him do it on the last take, so nothing gets on his shirt." So like that was cool. So that's when I really got to talk to him. Also, when I'm outside, when Janice crashes the party and like confronts her, I'm outside during that scene. So like he talked to us because when she falls, like we all have to react. So he was like, you guys react this way, you guys react that way. So yeah, that was fun because she like fell right like in front of my feet. So
Oh, okay. Like
yeah,
Katie when she, yeah,
yeah, when she
yeah.
was out of the house. So yeah,
Hmm.
it was funny to me. But yeah, so like my part was laughing.
They were both very, very sweet. Artie, who was like the male director of the film, was he was so funny because he would very much try to keep it like an environment where like everyone was like good and like comfortable and like ready to like get to work basically. But I think it was so funny when we were filming like scenes that he could tell everyone would like kind of wanted to go home because we'd been shooting for so long. He'd be like, all right, guys, one more take, like just one more. And it would be a lie every single time. Like the amount of times that he'd be like, all right, guys, one more take. And then we do like 5 more was so funny. But also we were like, okay, you don't have to lie to us. Like if it's not going to be one more take, like you don't have to lie. Like I get it. You want to just like encourage us, but it doesn't have to be. But there was actually one point where I think it was when we were actually shooting the you can't sit with us like sweatpants like type scene. We shot that scene so many times once again because of the scene and Renee laughing and everything. I think it was like one of the PAs or whatever. It was like, okay, guys, we actually do have one more. And it was like, oh my God, like, are you being serious? We actually are like gonna be done. And he was like, yes. Oh my God, thank you so much for like supporting women and like letting us go home. And I was laughing so hard because I was like, no, actually, like I need to like eat, sleep. Samantha also was really, really sweet and
Mhm.
just like very like creative in her directing, like very like specific and like had a vision. And she was just like very, very cutesy, very sweet. So it was really cool,
Mhm.
like meeting and
Yeah.
working with her too.
Then I have to ask about, I don't know if you had any experience with the fake food on set, or not even the fake food, the real food, because
Oh yeah.
I saw a tweet from another extra saying that like it wasn't that great or like it looked really bad. So what was kind of the experience with that?
Yeah, all set, and it's so not even Mean Girls. Just all set food is cold, nasty, especially if it's something like pizza. But since I was cool with the PA, so I just asked him to bring me pretzels and Pringles. So that's really all I ate whenever we did like the lunch scenes and everything. But other than that, I wasn't like the real food. I was not eating any of that. So like I refused to eat. So I was just like, I'll eat chips. So they brought me chips, and then they had like juice boxes.
Well, dude, it was literally so bad. Like it was so bad because they had like real food for everything, but
Mhm.
like obviously because we were shooting so many takes, it's like not gonna be food that you
Mhm.
want to eat anyway, like over and
Yeah.
over and over, like they actually had the actors eat. So it was like stale, just like gross. Like they had like burgers, but like the meat and like the like what are they called? Hamburger buns, yeah,
Yeah.
were both like old and just like dry. Like it was not good. And like if we had like lettuce or like a salad or whatever, like I had on one of my plates, it was like wilting and like turning like a little bit like it was just not good. It was not
Mhm.
good. And I literally posted something about like the food on set, and people were like, I would have eaten it. And I was like, no, trust me, you would not have. Like if you saw it and like you would not have wanted to eat it. Like it was bad. It was so bad.
Was there anything that you learned from being on set that you maybe didn't know before about filmmaking?
I always knew that like, people take multiple takes, but there's so much more that goes into it. Like they when they were setting up like hallway scenes specifically, they had extras that went from the window to the other end of the hallway. Like if you're like I was in scenes that you can't see me on camera, but I remember filming them. So
Oh,
like it's so much bigger than I thought it was going to be.
So before doing this, I had no, I wouldn't say interest in the film industry, but I had no prior knowledge to any of it and how it works. Versus like a few other people on set like knew that they wanted to go into this. And like I personally went to high school with like two twins that were going to school with all of this stuff, and they happened to be on set with me too. But it was like completely different worlds. Um, just seeing like how they work the cameras, and they would like build little um I guess like a railroad, it kind of looked like, for like this camera to go onto and kind of just follow some of the actors around. And that was probably like one of the coolest things, and they would set it up in like 2 seconds.
I think the thing that like shocked me so much was this is like so specific, but like the range of like volume that's used when you're on a set. Because in the scenes where like people weren't like singing, it was literally basically like the actors were like whispering. Like genuinely, everyone was talking so quietly when delivering their lines that it was like, especially like because I was at the table like right behind the plastics for like their cafeteria scenes, they would literally be like at the table in front of me, and I could hear what they were saying, but it was like I'd have to try to listen. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So that's just like was crazy to see like in transition when I was like watching the film was like, yeah, damn, those mics really do pick up shit because like clearly you can hear them, but like in person it was like everyone was like, oh my god, on Wednesdays we wear pink, like da, 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 da. I was like, what? Everyone whispering, like what the hell is going on? It was just so funny because I know in theater obviously everyone's like project, and I know
Mhm.
like on camera they tell you like you don't have to do that, but it's not only you don't have to do that, apparently you talk way quieter. And I was
Mhm.
like, okay, got it, like note taken.
Mhm.
So just like little things like that that I was like very surprised by.
did you make any friends with any extras that you keep in touch with?
Absolutely. So every day on set, it varied for how many extras there would be on film or on set. And there would be like majority of days like around 200. So they did their best with trying to keep it like a high school. And they would invite the majority of us back week after week to come back to film. So we kind of made our own group for a little bit of it, and we would, come in together every day from holding, and we would sit together, get ready, eat, talk, it was awesome.
That
And
sounds so cool.
at some point, actually, I don't know if you guys know, but Renee Rapp has a brother, and
Mhm.
he did extra work on the film too, and he actually sat with us as part of our like set group.
So there's one bit in Revenge Party where Katie is showing Janice and Damien the recording. And Jaquel spent about 15 to 20 takes just doing different like screeches, improv lines, anything that you can think of. Like he just kept doing it. And I was set up on the other side of the camera for like background, which I found interesting because like they weren't moving the camera, so like why did I need to be there? But you know what? Energy vibes. So my friend Liam and I were there trying desperately not to break and ruin the shot because it's just Jaquel going like bitch or like "Ah," like the one that ended and it was just hilarious. And we spent so much time together because these scenes would take hours on end. And so yeah, I made and have been keeping very good friendships with a good couple of the people that I met on set.
I went into it like not knowing anyone really. I went into it like I saw some people on set that I had known just like either like from like being super into concerts or things like that, like other people that I knew that are also really big into music but also like aspiring actors type of thing. But I didn't know that they were going to be there until it was like we were on set type of thing. But I mostly like I made like I would say about like 3 or 4 like really good new friends like throughout all of filming. So that was like really cool.
That is fun. And did you guys all go see the movie together after it came out?
Yes, we did. And we also like are still trying to plan like a little screening for like us and all of our friends to like
Mhm.
do, but we all have like ADHD and just are horrible at planning things. So it literally has not happened, but
Mhm.
maybe it will. We'll see.
So I have to know, did you film any of the musical numbers?
I was in there for Meet the Plastics and Apex Predator, which Apex Predator was its own beast, filming that, and it was just entertaining.
Which
Um,
oh
but
yeah.
yeah. But for that, it was, you got to hear the song before it came out. So like I heard, Renee Rapp sing Meet the Plastics, which I mean, she was like feet in front of me. So that was just like a cool experience.
I think my first like dance sequence was Apex Predator. So what happened was Cal, who was the choreographer, the dance choreographer, he pretty much auditioned us on the spot. And it was like everybody act like animals, whatever. I picked the hyena. I got picked. So we go outside and that's when they're like everybody's dancing outside and everything. So I got to dance in that. And then also I was at the table where Regina is first introduced and she's like, my name is Regina George, all that.
Mhm.
That was the second song. And then there was a third one. I think it was one of Janice's songs.
Another scene that I talked about it a bit about it on Twitter was like the classic like you can't sit with us type of
Mhm.
like Gretchen breaking down scene. That was a scene that was like, even though it has like a really serious tone, was so funny behind the scenes because I mentioned it like on Twitter, but
Mhm.
Renee was like having such a hard time filming that scene because Vivi just kind of like loses it like as Gretchen, and so there were so many takes that Renee would just like start laughing like while looking at her. So they had her like literally turn around. So she like was not looking at BB. And it was just so funny because all of us were trying to like not laugh at Renee laughing, if that makes sense. So that was like another scene that was really fun to film and like we did over and over and over just because Renee kept laughing. Um, and then what else? Oh, this is a scene that I'm in, but you can't like see me, and was like the whole like world burn kind of like huge big like montage thing that happens when like everyone's fighting in the hallway. That one was really, really fun because they had like stunt coordinators working with people who were like doing like all the like huge like pushing against lockers, whatever, like all that different types of stuff. And then obviously we got to see like Tim, Mr. Duval, like doing his whole like, I did not go to grad school for this type of thing. So like that was also really fun just because it was like literally running around the entire time, everyone like fighting, screaming, whatever. So that was like also really fun. And there are other things that I'm like definitely forgetting. Apex Predator was also crazy because everyone was just acting like an animal the entire time. And in that one, you can't see me because I'm literally off screen, like right next to Jaquel and Ali. And that was really, really funny in between takes. Because during one of the takes, I didn't realize that we were rolling. And so I was like, oh, we're supposed to be acting as animals. Okay, got it. Got it. Did not realize we were rolling. But that was like also a scene that was like, because imagine just like you're looking around you and everyone is acting like an animal. Like it was crazy. It was so
Yeah.
funny. But yeah, there's a lot of different scenes like that that were really fun.
I did really want to talk about this one scene. It was my final day on set, and they were looking for a very small. They wanted 6 extras for this like little shoot that they were doing, and so they picked like me and like just random people from the room, and they brought us into the cafeteria, and it was supposed to take place during, I think, Revenge Party, if not between Revenge Party and World Burn, where Regina starts, gaining weight and, everyone's like kind of turning on her a little bit. And we were all set up on the bench, and she was like walking past us, and we're supposed to be watching the video of her falling and laughing at her, and then seeing her walk past and like laughing at her then. And that was really cool for me because the way that they had us set up, it was like 3 people were on the table and then 3 people were on the bench. And then like I was like the central like focus, I guess you could say, of the scene. So like we were all looking at my phone. It wasn't mine. It was the prop phone. And this lovely prop guy handed it to me, but then was like, "Wait a minute." And he started putting stickers on it so that it looked more legit. Um but yeah, like it was so surreal to me because I know that like I had no significant role in this movie. But having the camera, like there, I have a picture from behind the scenes where the camera is about like half a foot away from my head. And they literally told me, they're like, don't move too much because you will like get lodged in the head with like one of these pipes on the camera.
Oh my God.
It was ultimately cut from the final movie. So it doesn't exist. But it exists in my heart, and it was still like such like a surreal moment for me.
It's just some lost media. It's out there.
Right.
Yeah,
Like,
right?
I'm
It
hoping that
happened.
like eventually like they're like deleted scene, and I'm like right there. And I'm like,
Director's cut.
right.
And also like there was something that was so interesting that I think is like fun for people to know. When I was like watching the movie, I noticed that there was like something that was like kind of cut from the movie. Like there was I don't remember what exactly he says, but Jaquel says this one line when him and Ali, Janice and Damien are talking about how like they've taken Regina down. Like when they're talking to Katie, they're like, "Oh my God, they took her down." And Damien like says this line about like she something like talking about how like she fell on her pimple and like that's rock bottom. Whatever the line is there. So he says that line, and obviously like her having a pimple is like a kind of a little thing. I think it was supposed to be a much bigger thing than it is in the
Okay.
movie because we like shot the whole like during the whole "you can't sit with us" scene. The thing that you like don't see is people are wearing like hats. Like the girl like literally sitting next to me in the shot is wearing a hat that says "I fell on my pimple." And like we also
Oh.
they gave us like stickers and like prop phones, so it was like going to be a much bigger thing, like joke that like that happened to her and like that was like a part of her downfall, but it like obviously didn't make it in, which is like fine, and I'm sure like valid reasons. But it was just so funny because I literally remember like they gave us prop phones for that scene, like specifically that had like the stickers and like hats and shirts, and like it was a whole entire thing that just like didn't make it in. So like that was fun and like interesting to see.
So we do have a little game for you today. It
Yep.
is Mean Girls themed, and it's guessing the quote. They're all like really iconic quotes, so it's nothing to be worried about. And
Okay.
it's going to be put up against the other extras who are interviewing.
Okay, I'm gonna fail, but let's try. Let's see. I might surprise myself.
Get in, loser. We're going shopping.
That was Regina George.
Yes.
Oh, Regina,
Yes. Okay.
mommy.
It's not my fault you're like in love with me or something.
Katie Heron.
Yep.
Yes.
Regina George.
Wait, oh, that was Katie.
Oh, well, that's Katie.
Raise your hand if you have ever been personally victimized by Regina George.
Was it Katie?
Ugh. Was it? Man, was it Tina's Fay's character?
Oh, it's Miss Norbury.
Is that Tina Fey?
Yes. That's why her hair is so big. It's full of secrets.
Damien.
Was that Gretchen?
That is Damien.
On Wednesdays, we wear pink.
Karen.
Yes.
Yep.
Karen.
Yes.
Karen in the original.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much to all the extras who joined us for today's episode. And thank you all for listening. We had such a great time sharing everyone's experiences and hope you check out more of our videos soon.